Happy Wednesday. Late night for me last night. We had a very late soccer game in the evening, which played out to a 0-0 draw, but a really good game to watch. So a little bit foggy this morning. We're going to start today with some joint rotations, and then we'll do the 12 rivers. So this will be a little bit more energetic routine than most of the rest of the week looks like. So fingers spread apart, be in the spiral of the hands around each other. It's also the last day of school for my kids here today. So all kinds of scurrying going on. As most of my virtual learners have to go in and spend a couple hours at school anyway today. And reverse the direction of that. And then let's put the fingers together and interlock them, and then really focus on rotating around those wrists. We've not done the 12 rivers for a couple of weeks. And I'm going to turn you loose on the breath today. So we're not going to try to pattern the breathing in any of them. I will try to adhere to the proper way to do each one of them, but I'm going to let you regulate your own breath. And again, let's change direction. And then we'll release the hands, tuck the elbows into the sides, and then begin to put that spiral around the elbows. And change direction. And then relax the hands down. Let's take one hand up to the shoulder area, and with the other hand lifting. Spiral at the top, take it around back, pressing down and back. And you get a full rotation of the shoulder. Unlike most of the routines we do, the 12 rivers is not exactly what I would describe as a flowing routine. So we'll do it as forms, settling back into the neutral Wuji position between each one so that we can reset our feet. And let's take it the other direction. Lifting in the back, pressing in the front, hand spirals at the bottom now. And then let's take it over to the other side. One hand up into the shoulder area, lifting in the front, spiral at the top, press in the back. No static standing work today. We'll come back to that in a little bit different format tomorrow. We'll do the Between Heaven and Earth set and then do a short standing meditation just done from Wuji. It'll be a guided meditation. Welcome to drop off after the flow tomorrow if that isn't your thing. And let's reverse direction here, lifting in the back, pressing in the front, put the spiral at the bottom. And let's begin to deepen out the breath. Breathing in through the nose if you're able. And taking the breath out through either the mouth or the nose. All right, let's take it down to the hips. And we'll get a few turns in both directions. And let's bring the feet together, hands down on the knees and spiral the knees. And again, let's get some of those in both directions. And come on back to vertical. Step out onto the ball of the foot and rotate the ankle. There's a lot of stepping and turning in the 12 rivers. We do want to be nice and loose in the knees and ankles and hips. And let's take these in both directions as well. And then pull that one back in, shift the weight to the other side, and let's do the other foot. A few turns going each way. And then let's connect to the breath with a little spinal cord breathing. Breathing in, spread the elbows apart. As you pull it all back in, exhale, gently fold. Breathing in, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's add a little turn to the top. Bring it back to center as you exhale. last one. And then rise and relax. And let's settle into Wuji, but with our hands over the lower dantian. Close your eyes, settle in for a couple of breaths. Sequence today will be on the meridian clock, but adjusted for US Central Time. So we'll be starting with the crane looks behind. All right, open the eyes, relax the hands down into Wuji. Have our hands in our crane head position for this one. Breathing in, rise. Hands fall, we turn out to one side. Back through center, turn out on the other side. And again, I'm not going to regulate your breathing today. The movements themselves are complicated enough. So for today, just breathe deeply and naturally. Let your body follow the breath. Yeah, let's take a couple more and then settle back down into Wuji. The Wuji position, again, feet about shoulder and hips width apart, arms hanging loosely at the sides with just a little bit of space under the armpits, knees nice and soft, back straight, head as if suspended on a string. It's kind of our ready for anything position. Next up, the wild goose beats his wings. So breathing in, let the arms float up in front, form fists that pull back into the ribs. Take an inhale here. And then on the exhale, elbows forward, elbows back, elbows out, extend forward. Pull the fists back in. Overhead with elbows forward, elbows float back, elbows out to the sides, fingers forward. One more. And we settle back into Wuji. Next up, punching wind. Hands float up in front into chi lock fists. So tuck your thumbs in and make a fist. Pull those back high into the ribs. Take an inhale. Punching forward. Thumb pointing up, but tucked. Spiral the hand. Open it up. Turn it over. Other side. Punching forward. Spiral. Open. Turn. Push forward. One more on each side. Last one. Relaxing back down into Wuji. Next up, the black tiger straightens its waist. Leaning forward, folding down, fingers interlock at the bottom. Rise back up, arms parallel to the floor. Arms release back, and then 2 times overhead. Fold down, interlock fingers, rise to parallel, release the hands down, and then 2 times. Stretching back. Keep that stretch back within your comfortable range of motion. And one more. And then relax back into Wuji. Reset the feet a little bit for the next one. Riding a horse and shooting the bow. So let's toe heel out a little bit wider. Something approximating a horse stance. Hands float up on one side. One becomes the aiming point, the other draws the bow. Other side. The breathing is probably very familiar for this one, so we do a lot of variations of it. Inhaling through the transition and exhaling as we draw the bow. But feel free to just breathe it naturally today. One more on each side. And then let your string hand float out, both hands release, and we can toe heel back in to hips width, and rest back into Wuji. Next up, turning and gazing. Hands float up on the side and then spiral in to capture a large ball. Turn your hands out, one hand in front of your face, one hand in front of your lower dantian. You're going to pull back against the elbow on the top hand to the side, all the way across, back to the middle, and then let the hands spiral and change places. Turn the palms out, pull to the top elbow, all the way across, back to the middle, spiral to change hands. One more. Spiral one more time, and then spin your ball, put the hands on the side, flatten the palms, and let them float back down to Wuji. Two hands, push the sky. Hands float up on the sides. Coming up overhead, interlock the fingers, turn the hands over, press overhead. Hands return to the head, turn over, and we begin to open back up. Turn the hands over, palms to the floor, and release. Rising, fingers interlock overhead. Hands turn over, press high, returning to the head and turning back over. Release to the shoulders, turn the palms over, relax down. One more time. Back to Wuji. Let's toe heel out just a little bit wider, not to horse stance, but a little bit wider. Tiger stretches his back. Hands float up to one side. Back leg is going to stay straight. Stretch across. Bring it back. Let the arms float through as you turn in and turn out on the other side. Claws. Stretch. Return. Let's take one more on each side. And then return back to Wuji. Keep the feet out a little bit wide. Next one's the four body movements. Hands on the hips. Turn one foot out. Lunge over that foot. Sit back, let the back knee bend. Turn the foot forward, keeping this leg straight. Side bend over it. Back to vertical. Turn it back out. And a final lunge over that side. Turning that one back in, turning the other foot out. Gentle lunge. Sit back. Turn. Bend. Straighten up. Turn back out. Lunge. Turn back in. Let's do one more on each side. And last one. Keeping the feet out nice and wide. Let's just let the hands slide down. We're going to take this one out of order. Let the weight sink into your knees from your hands. This will be a little bit like the 8 brocades, swinging the body and shaking the tail. I'm going to turn to one side and then just let our head drop and sweep across. Return to center. Going back the other way. Turn to the side, let the head drop, sweep across, return to center. One more time going each way. And then let's toe heel back in as we rise. Rest into Uji. And we'll move on to Dragon Clears a Path. Toe heel out just slightly wider than hips width. Hands come forward, bring them into fists, turning to one side. And we want this foot to turn just a little bit past or 90 to us. Press a fist out. Turn it over, leading with the pinky. Draw a big arc behind you. And then draw a big arc in front. When you reach the bottom, pull it back in. Turn the foot in. Turning out. Pressing forward. Turn the fist over, lead with the pinky. Arc in back, arc in front, reload. Let's do one more on each side. Release the hands. A little pause in Uji here. One arm raising. Arms float up on the sides. And then spiral in to capture a ball. Before we move, let's bring our feet in a little bit more. Take a big inhale. On the exhale, turn both hands over. One goes high, one goes low. Hands spiral. Recapture the ball with the other hand on top. One high, one low. Now, if you'd like, as you raise up, come up on the balls of your feet. Last one. Go ahead and recapture the ball, spin it, flatten the palms and let them float down. And we bookend with our crane, turning out, one arm forward, one arm back. The crane looks behind. One more going each way. Relaxing back down and coming into our close. Rise and gather overhead. Turn the palms to the floor and press the palms. One more time. Let the bottom hand separate, toss one away. Let it come overhead and trace down the midline of the body. And let's balance that on the other side. Letting the hands join each other, hand over the lower dantian. Bring your feet in a little bit if you'd like. Close your eyes. And a few breaths to finish us off today. One more big breath in. And as you release that breath, and also release the hands, let the eyes come back open. Give everything a little shake at the bottom. Thanks for joining me. 12 Rivers. Namaste.